year. It's the latest injury to sideline Burrow. In 2020, of course, it's the knees, 6 games, wrist, 7 games. He's also had a few maladies that sidelined him for preseason games. Cincinnati went 4-11-1 in 29, 8, and 23. How concerning is this for Joe Burrow?
Well, it's devastating, and it's now 2 injuries that are incredibly rare for the quarterback. So the wrist injury is remember when he was he's got to talk to baseball teams about that one. He obviously came back from that fine. He had the best passing year of his career the following year. And turf toe to this degree, again, I'm basing this off Bruin Mai's mutual, friend, Dr. David Chow, who said that for a quarterback to have surgery for turf toe is incredibly rare. And sadly, Coach, it also felt to me, watching this game, incredibly inevitable. Going into the year, the conversation on the Bengals was simply, is the defense going to be any better? And I, not so quietly try to be man, that offensive line wasn't great last year, and I think it got worse. And in week 1 against Cleveland, he got battered. And in this game, he was getting battered. This wasn't one hit. And when you combine his own immobility compared to the other top quarterbacks with the fact that he really does want to stand in the pocket and hunt for deep shots. You know what I mean? He's not doing what, to be totally clear, Patrick did last year, which is, I'm getting rid of the ball, I'm protecting myself. No, he is trying to navigate the pocket. Those things plus the offensive line, he was going to get banged up. And now that it's this bad is obviously awful. Yeah. And for the Bengals, it means to me, I know Browning's played well, their season's over, but because I didn't believe in them if they had Burrow.
Right.
And I just don't know what it means for him career-wise to now have had 3 very substantial injuries to 3 different parts of his body.
Yeah, this is so hard from an organizational standpoint. And how do you plan moving forward where your franchise quarterback 3 different times now has missed significant amount of time? And when you look at it, it is different body parts. And I think the easy way to view this is it's just an O-line problem. But they've poured a ton of resources into the O-line.
Yep.
And they've poured a ton of resources into this offense. And they've done everything they can to help him be as successful as he can. And that makes a lot of sense. But it has a little bit of a Tua-like feeling where,
it's just not concussion.
When it keeps happening, and now it's different body parts, and that was the issue with re-signing Tua, or giving Tua the big contract. There was questions about ability, but he answered a lot of those prior to the contract. Then it becomes a question of one more concussion, and he's out long term. Now, with Joe, it's a different body part, but it's a consistent pattern that we're seeing. So how do you plan? Well, how do you plan moving forward, not knowing whether or not your quarterback's going to be able to be there long term on any given season?
Yeah, well, first I'll address the Bengals, who I did pick to make the playoffs. I would think they're not going to do it now. There is a path, though. If you look at their schedule, they're already 2-0, thankfully for them. But they got Minnesota, Denver. Those are winnable now. We might not have thought so before the season.
By the way, Minnesota, J.J. McCarthy out this week with an ankle injury. So that's going to be the Carson Wentz, Jake Browning.
That's a winnable. Denver's winnable. If you split with Pittsburgh, let's just say there's a split. You got the Jets. You got Chicago, New England, Miami, and Arizona. If they won those, but that would be 10 wins. So I'm just saying, if he can come back, I don't think they'll make it, but I'm just saying Browning's not bad. They obviously beat Jacksonville.
Browning played well when he was there before. Yesterday though, they did win. He also threw the ball. He threw 3 picks. Yeah,
2 teams.
But
he can win some games for him. So if most optimistic, Joe gets back in 3 months and they're alive, or maybe at the start of the playoffs, I'm just throwing that out there. For his career, this is derailing what could be a Hall of Fame career. Maybe still will be, but I'm just saying it's already been derailed by his injuries. And I don't know, Coach, if he's injury prone or it is the offensive line. I know they put resources in it, but if you look at this is where he and Tua differ. He's been the most sacked This is the most hits taken in the last 20 seasons.
Well, that's a horrifying list to be on.
Right, and because Luck obviously retired after 6 years, and this is Burrow's 6th season. Luck sat out 1 year, so 7 technically. Deshaun's
a
I don't know if
shell
the
of
hits
himself,
took him
or-
away
right.
or the his scandal, but he's not the same quarterback. And now you got Burrow, but he's taken. I think he's since he's been in the league, the most sacked quarterback and the 3rd most hits.
But to Nick's point, if you know that there's an issue, then maybe you can't hunt for those deep balls as much as you want to. And at some point, you got to realize that your availability is more important than some deep shot. And if you have to get the ball out a lot quicker than maybe you want to, in order to set up some selective deep shots, then that's what you have to do, because you on the sideline does nobody any good, doesn't do you any good, doesn't do the team any good, and you can be a hero and play that type of football, but it comes at a cost. And unfortunately, this cost, he keeps paying this bill over and over again.
He plays within the pocket. The quarterback it reminds me the most of, honestly, is Big Ben. You know what I mean? Which is, doesn't matter if there's dirt at his feet, you know what I mean? Or dirt's the wrong word, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
people at his feet or whatever it is. But Big Ben was like his superpower, was how big and strong
he was
and
so
tough
hard to
bring down. And so listen, he has now, what's the movie? Is it? I think it's a baseball movie. It's obviously a baseball movie. The guy's going to become the all-time leader in minor league home runs, and nobody knows that. Bull Durham, thank you.
Nice.
I knew you'd know it. KW knows
sports.
great stuff like
sport.
that. You love sport.
See rounders?
Let me make my point. The point's
it.
important. And that was like a record you don't want to have. Joe Burrow now has a very real chance to be the only ever 3-time comeback player of the year. That's a record you don't want. Right now, he and Chad Pennington are the only 2-time comeback players of the year. And it's like, it's a sadness, you know what I mean, that's now where we're at, because I think 3 months, you guys know what I've said about this new age NFL media injury reporting.
Yeah.
Escaped all injury means he misses a week. Right. Better than expected means he misses a month. They're very concerned means he's out for the year. They're saying 3 months means we'll see you in 5. And so
we'll see you next season.
Exactly. We'll see you next season.
Like, you look at Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones gets hit as hard as anybody I've ever seen. Yeah. And it seemed to escape injuries, and then some other guys get hit.
Except the one, Daniel got his knee blown out, though, one of the years, but aside from that, he's played through.
He's up there.
He takes, like Rocky-type shots.
Yeah. Coach, just because you share a seat with Greg, you don't have to ride for Daniel.
I was talking about his toughness.
It's kind of, Greg is like, Cowboys put up 40 to survive an offensive explosion from Russ and the Giants. Cowboys Wire, great website, called it, quote, an instant ugly classic. Dak threw the ball 52 times. Brandon Aubrey ties it and wins it with no time on the clock. Schottenheimer gets his first win. Here's Dak.
That game was the epitome of him and his coaching style, just the resiliency he has and the way, the way he carries himself, the way he coaches. The standard's the standard, and at the end of the day, that's winning. And that's what this game, the end of it was. And credit to him. We're behind him. He deserved that first win. Tough one to get. Fun one to get. Very fun one to get. And I know he'll never forget it. I won't forget it. I'm sure every guy in that locker room won't forget this one.
Brew, week 1 for the Cowboys. They lost to the champs, and you had a long soliloquy and gave them a B. So here was an offensive explosion. Professor Broussard, was this week's grade for the Cowboys?
I hate to rain on somebody's parade.
Oh.
All right, but look, nobody thinks the Giants are any good except Coach. All right, so Coach, let's keep it real. All right, you gave up how many points? 37 points to a team that scored 6. What did we think might be Washington's weakness this year?
It's defense.
The defense.
Yeah.
They held them to 6.
Wow.
Not only did Russ leap into the time machine, but the Cowboys drove the time machine to him, opened the door, Russ, get in and go back 10 years. That was bad. Look, but Coach knows this better than anybody. A win in the NFL is a win in the NFL. I don't take that away from them at all. Maybe they could have won last week and lost this week. So 1-1 is good. That's what the plus is for, to win. It's a C+. I can't go overboard. You almost lost at home to the Giants.
We got beat last week and they lost.
Hold on. Were they not more impressive last week against the Eagles in losing than they were in beating the Giants?
Hey, it's not the scoreboard.
Brandon Aubrey was
He's
A triple plus. And the fact that Brian Schottenheimer, after just a few months around Brandon Aubrey, is like, yeah, listen, it's now, what if we don't get any yards, what is it from here, 67?
Yeah.
All right, we're safely in range.
Good.
Let's just run a draw play and send him out there. Is remarkable testament to him. Dak was great. CD did bounce back. Coach, thank God they didn't have Mike out there, or else they might have given up more than 84 yards rushing. Am I right, guys? Because I would give the Cowboys offense an A+, the defense an F, special teams an A, and so you end up with C+. Problem is this: the guy who owns the team gets you're kicked out of school for how this season's looked through 2 games. I understand we cannot judge trades for draft picks until you see what the draft picks come back as. And that would be fine if the guy who owned the team didn't tell us, oh, no. This is not just for draft picks. Right. This is for right now. This is for help us today. And I watch what Micah Parsons looks like on the Packers and what the Cowboys defense looks like, really in conjunction with what the Cowboys offense looks like. And I'm like, I think 2 things. One is Micah was holding that whole thing together with Scotch tape by himself defensively. And the other one is, man, if the Cowboys still had that guy, even though I didn't believe in them going into this year, they could have been really good. Yeah. And you punted on it. And so I'd give them, if the owner gets an F, then everybody's grade drops. But I agree with you in general, bro.
Okay, so you're giving the owner an F. Now, he did hire Brian Schottenheimer, and everybody said that was a terrible hire. What the worst hire in the world. How could you ever do it? He looks pretty good compared to the other rookie head coaches. I mean, I think the team's played okay. He did make that hire, but whatever. With the kicker, here's what I'd say to Jerry. I don't know what his cap situation is or where his contract is. Extend him. Like, send him right now.
Yes.
Like, just that guy is incredible. And yeah, you can. Micah would have helped in this game. I agree. However, last week they did hold Saquon Barkley to his lowest average since he's had in 17 games. I know we're disregarding that aspect of it.
I got to tell you, I was glad you weren't here that week.
I know we're disregarding that part of it, and I really appreciate the excitement that Dallas has generated. I think they've showed a ton of resilience yesterday. That could have easily been a game in the past that they lost, and you've got to give them some credit for them being able to pull out that win. And as much as not me, but you want to kill the Cowboys for winning, you still have to give them credit for finding a way to win in a game that was very unpredictable from both sides.
Cowboys-Bears coming up, so that'll, if they can get to 2-1.
They're supposed to beat the Bears now, I think.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Bears are.
Right now, everybody's supposed to beat the Bears. Luckily, it's Danny Parkin's problem.
By the way, Coach, he has dropped Caleb like a bad habit.
Oh, I know.
Like
he's so quick.
Brew went to Baltimore for this game.
Trevor and Caleb.
Trevor,
Brew and I hung out. We all hung out with the mayor of Kansas City. Brew hung out with the mayor of Baltimore. Mayor of Philadelphia. You better call Kevin Wilder.
Governor of Baltimore.
Angel soft. Well, it's gotta be soft.